Hello, and how are we doing today, everybody? I am Wardy, and I've got a YouTube exclusive cast for you. This one hasn't been cast anywhere by me, apart from right here on YouTube. So I hope you do. I hope you guys do enjoy. Just gonna mix some words around there, but we'll try and start off on the right foot. It's early in the morning. I woke up early because I need to do some YouTube content for the day, so you guys might have to forgive me if I stumble over a word or two here or there. As we start this off, in the bottom right-hand side, the red Zerg player from the Africa Freaks is soO. And the top left, the blue Terran, is Cure from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. This is a best-of-3 TVZ from the Intu the Alpha X Pro Circuit, I believe it's called. A tournament which has been happening over the last couple of weeks during March. Going to be finishing up the next couple of days of April. I believe Creighton Olsen cast this live if you want to go and check that out. So this is a TVZ best of 3 from the group stages. I think it's the winners match of the group. I'm not 100% sure. I've just got like a pack of replays and I just kind of flicked through a few and found a couple cool series. So we're going to be doing this one, and yeah, just really excited to do a YouTube exclusive cast. I know I've not done many of these, and I know my last one I was like, I want to do more of these, and I really do. Like, God, the content from the stream has just been so good, guys. We've had so many good games lately, and you know, every week I'm coming out of Kung Fu Cup with like at least 2 or 3 uploads. I've had my own events which have been going great. We've just had so much to upload, so there's not been need to do these YouTube exclusives. On top of the fact that because I'm casting so much at the moment, because stream is doing very well, it's actually kind of hard to find time to do the extra time for YouTube exclusives as well. But like I say, we kind of had a lame Kung Fu Cup the other day, so I didn't get much to upload from that. So I'm actually a little bit kind of like, oh my god, I got no StarCraft. So I've got these replays, and hopefully this is going to be a fantastic series in place of what would have been a stream upload. But that's great because I get to talk to you guys a little bit as well as we open up in the game. Reaper expansion here from Cure against the Hatch Gas Pool. Of course, if you do end up liking this video, do consider liking, subscribing, and commenting. And if you subscribe, don't forget to turn your notifications on. I was looking at my statistics on YouTube, some of my analytics, and apparently, basically nobody gets notified when I upload videos, which I think is crazy. So even if you are a sub, maybe click that bell and get notified when my videos go up. I know not everyone needs it because you find me on, you know, your subscription feeds and whatever, but do check it out. It'll only help you catch more of my stuff. So with all of that out of the way, let's see what this Reaper can do. It starts to harass here at the front, going up against these few Zerglings. Gets a drone very low already, and honestly the Lings have taken a lot of damage too. But the Queen comes out, and that Reaper's kind of low, which means that the Creep Tumor. This is the entire point of fighting with this Reaper against these Lings early and trying to get damage done. It's meant to be so you can create an opportunity to kill the Creep Tumor, and soO got a bit too greedy there. This Reaper was low, so the Creep Tumor should be able to go down early in the game. But he puts it down at the front. The Zerglings are sat behind the Queen, and so the Zerglings aren't there to kind of, you know, threaten the Reaper for coming through and getting a couple shots on something and staying stationary. I mean, you could have placed the Creep Tumor, yes, much further back like here, which he does now because the Reaper is higher HP. So this is just a slight mistake from soO where he's like, he thinks he knows the situation. He's like, yeah, I've got that Reaper low, it can't dive in. And he was just a little bit too greedy because actually, obviously, we saw that Reaper could indeed dive in and was able to get the kill. That's really nice to get a Creep Tumor kill early in the game. 25 energy on this first Queen going down like that. And now it just slows down that entire creep spread, what, by like 15-20 seconds, right? And that entire slowdown is a big part of, you know, creating opportunities for yourself as the Terran a little bit later on from now. So a really nice start from Cure here. So 2 Hellions and the Reaper will just patrol at the front. We do have a Banshee opener on the way. I'll say this on a few different maps. Nightshade, Simulacrum, Everdream. But the Cloak Banshees on those 3 maps in particular are just such a... Oh, these are shorter rush distances. You can roach rush me. I'm not going to die to something like that. So the Banshee really gives you that safety, that layer of safety. But of course, at the same time, that Banshee is also just a good harassing tool. If nothing comes across the map, you can of course just use it for good harassment. You can get some good damage done. You can shut down the drone count and all of that good stuff. So plenty to be done there with that Banshee. As we do see a Lair on the way up here from soO, and a Bane that's dropping down. Now we've seen a couple players start to play mech off this Banshee opener, but I don't think that will be what we have today. Should just be a stim pack and some bio. And there it is, the stim pack starting up. And that means we should get a nice game of at least LING Bane something against bio here. And it's kind of cool because soO versus mech is a very questionable matchup. I uploaded you guys a soO versus TY video from the Spring Championship preseason the other day, and, well, soO made it work against mech, but it also seems as though TY kind of forgot the use of Thors. I was going to say he Thor, God, because he just didn't make Thors when there's like 40 Mutalisks on the map. He just kept making Cyclones, and it was kind of like, huh? So kind of fun, because I feel like soO's better matchup in ZvT is going to be versus Bio. Obviously, we have seen a bit of mech being mixed in by these Terran players once again, and maybe we see Kua doing that as the series develops, as this Banshee comes through this top side. So a couple of them joining up together. We do have the few Hellions back around in the center as well. A couple of engineering bays dropping down, a couple of racks coming through, Stimpak about halfway done. And with the faster layer here, soO is just going into a nice quick Baneling nest, and then straight towards this Spire as well. So not really missing out on much, right? I mean, just later upgrades basically to get a faster Bane speed and faster Spire obviously has its own advantages. As you have the two Banshees make their way in towards this main base, so they're going to find themselves, I mean, this Queen is just out of position, absolutely, so that will go down, gets 2 shots on Banshees, and now the drones on this top side of the mineral line are pretty exposed as well, so that's 4 workers going down. Now these Queens actually coming in, and Kua was kind of just sat there for a little while taking some damage. He could loop back around in this main and get a couple more drones, but the Queen coverage is actually pretty good. Yeah, sitting there and not responding right away kind of cost him one of those Banshees. He absolutely could have gotten out or to this position, at least with 2 of them, much more easily. Now, I'm not sure that's a major issue, because actually, in a way, the Spire's about to be done anyways. But once this Spire finishes up, these Banshees are just going to die no matter what. So it's not the biggest of deals losing the first one like that. Just maybe if you get the 2 of them there, you can dive in for a couple more drones before the Spire and the Mutalisks are out. Actually, seeing the Spire, we're going to be seeing Kua pushing onto the map. Now, he is up against Bane speed, but he does have all of these Hellions to help support this armor. He's got 2 medevacs to lift up what we would call the important parts of it, right? The tank and the Marines. Evacuate those if necessary, while he obviously has the Hellions to, you know, then protect the rest of this. Tries to hide this army a little bit. But this Baneling's morphing, which is on the way. Let's see what happens. I mean, if you can get a cancel on the 4th base here, that'd be brilliant. And the Hellions really do create this real scare factor on this push. It's a nice scan too. All these active group teamers on the low ground going down. Yeah, it's turned into a real nice attack, and this is the sort of attack you can make when you know your opponent's about to finish that Spire early around the 7-minute marker. Because now, you know, if this was not a Spire so quickly, there'd be so much more LING Bane on the map, and this army looks silly trying to push across, right? No 1-1 just yet, no combat shields. But yeah, right now, the LING Bane count is probably getting to be okay to fight it. Obviously, these Hellbats are a bit scary, but the investment into the Mutalisks just means it's a little slower to get there. So you can force the later 4th base. Now the 4th base comes into the top right-hand side. I don't necessarily think that's an issue, although the Terran does have a really nice push through this top side of the map into that location. So that's something to watch out for a little bit later on as that 4th base really comes online and into play. Mutalisks come through, and a couple of SCVs will already go down as Marines in the main base get a few shots off, and those Mutas taking some damage. Again, Marines, Hellbats, a couple of medevacs, all of this joined together, and looking to push through the center of the map. Miss Supply Depot here, going to be picked off in a moment or two as well, so gets that taken down. It's actually kind of nice, right? Finding some, you know, initial damage here. Now, because he's cancelled that 4th base, Kua feels pretty confident, so he's going to come pushing across the map again. Another army, this time kind of supplemented by a couple siege tanks instead of just the 1. What's so good here is the fact you've just got the Hellbats still, because, you know, those Hellbats, if they can just tank a couple of extra Banelings, the difference in what you then need as soO to clean this up is really crazy. And it really is one of the big benefits of having kept those Hellions alive in the early stages of the game. Of course, it doesn't cost you anything to get those Hellbats out, right? I mean, you get the armory anyways for the 2-2. And that's basically where Kua was at a little while ago for the first push, you know, getting ready to go into 2-2, etc. And he did that on a 2nd factory here, and he's going drilling close, and I thought, sorry, is that a 2nd factory? It's actually just the, there is a 2nd factory. The 2nd one down here is actually building the reactors, so swaps to tech, or keeps the tech lab on and builds a Thor against the Mutas, but also gets drilling claws already to start switching into Widow Mines. That just, you know, more mobile kind of splash damage force here that the Terran can use against the Zerg. There's a couple of Banes going down. Mutalisks going to continue around this right-hand side, and LING Bane Muta army will continue to figure out where it wants to go. A group team going down there as, again, the rest of this from soO looked as though it wanted to jump up to the top side. Marines come back, kills off a Zergling. The rest of these Zerglings just trying to see what might happen as well. 2-2 upgrades about to finish up from Kua. And that obviously gives him a huge timing here, because soO is not ready with 2-2 just yet. And soO take a fight. Like I said, this push-up here is pretty scary, because the Zerg is basically fighting left and right from, you know, into 2 choke points. It's not the best base to fight into, and soO, I mean, he does have this bottom base on the way back up. The thing is, I just don't think you want to give up another base here. Here we go, Lings and Banes will start to stream in. Banes continue through. A lot of these Marines in some trouble. Medevacs having to pull back. Again, just a couple extra Widow Mines on the way out and Marine production at home. And soO has scared this army off enough to actually keep his 4th base alive. And at least now the future fights will be a little bit easier because you're going to hit 2-2 as the Zerg. So at least upgrades are going to even out, although you will still be behind when 3-3 finishes, of course. Difficult for the Zerg to reach 3-3 and to afford that in a game where you're kind of so heavily stuck on Ling Bane Muta, and the Terran has had some successful pushes. Hey, that's nice though. Catches a couple of Widow Mines. And that's where you kind of make up for the lack of upgrades, right? There's Mutalisk harassment that can come around. I was going to say, I don't know how he only lost 1 Mutalisk there, but he does lose a 2nd in the end anyways. But yeah, you know, things looking a little bit up from soO. I was just going to say it's very difficult to transition into Hive when you're really having to focus up on holding push after push of the Terran player. It's very difficult to afford an infestation bit of Hive, and then 3-3, all of which doesn't actually come into play for such a long time, right? You spend so long waiting for the benefits. You can die in that amount of time, so that's why Ling Bane Muta in general kind of gets stuck on that composition around this, you know, time and now. Unless you're really controlling the game, then you can go up into the Hive very freely. As you're going to be seeing again, this is not a pretty position to fight into. Widow Mine shot was a bit of mix of everything there, as we see the Bane's actually enough to keep chasing forward, so those Marines will still be chased back. It gives the Mutalisks chances to get rid of a couple of these medevacs. It's a very good micro from soO, right? He's controlling these fights correctly. He's not leaping on it at the first possible opportunity. He's sending a few units forward, soaking up some Widow Mines, and then diving in. You know, the Mutalisks continue to dive in there because he's still got Bane support on the ground, and that's something the Marines have to focus on. They are all going down, so yeah, overall looking alright from soO, definitely taking the right fights. And like I said, he needs to be, because otherwise it only gets harder for him. Once 3-3 upgrades finish here from Cure, it becomes so much more of a difficulty to make this work out, as Lings and Banes continue to gather on the bottom side of the map. Mutalisks will be flying their way through the south side, and we do have a Changeling, which is going to be, well, also continuing to wander around a little bit. This army of Cure coming back up the left-hand side, and the Mutalisks will take a turn in towards this lower left base. Missile turret, a couple of shots off. Mutalisks taking some damage there. 3-3 upgrades still on the way through on the engineering base. And just going to be seeing, I mean, a few Widow Mines, a few Marauders coming out. And the rest of these Mutalisks continuing away over this right-hand side are going to be able to take down this set of rocks. So rocks will go down. And this is going to be seeing the Bioforce continue to press forwards here from Cure. So bringing this forwards, we're going to see a Widow Mine goes off on just one Bane at the front. The rest of these Lings and Banes continue to stream through from the top side. It's going to make this a hell of a fight here from soO. Just going to come in across, well, the entire width of the army in the end. I mean, he actually loses quite, I feel like he lost quite a few Mutalisks, but actually only lost 2 or 3. That's actually a really nice cleanup again. Fight after fight here, soO is impressing. I mean, these are fights that you need to take very well so far, because again, you are up against 3-3. What's real, I mean, you're going to lose this base down here, but you're holding 5 bases, which really gives you a good go at the Terran on 4 bases. Now, the one thing soO isn't doing anything of at all at the moment. Bless me as I sneeze off the microphone for a moment. What soO isn't doing anything of is he's not run buying, right? Like, he's not doing any counterattacks, which is generally a key concept of playing Ling Bane Muta, right? You usually expect these Lings and Banes to go one way or the other, and usually you see like a good chunk of Lings and Banes kind of coming across the map to counter, put pressure on the Terran, but there's just been none of that. I'm just not sure if it's because he feels like there's a sense turret up on either side, and sense tower up on either side, and so, you know, Q is just going to be like, oh yeah, you know, this is kind of fine, like, you know, I'm going to see anything coming in, so Su's just like, yeah, you're right, I'm not going to do anything. I feel like those attacks, though, even if you see them coming, they force a response. They force the Terran player back. They force the Terran to get back here. By the way, look at the complete screw you Mutalisks. I don't want anything to deal with you, anything to do with you guys. 5 missile turrets in this mineral line. Is soO approaching another fight, but he does end up backing away. That Hive is now coming into play, so he's making that step up in the tech structure. Hive should lead into Ultra's Captain here. Hold that thought, because here we go. Banes go rolling through. Some of the Widow Mine shots pretty good here. There's only so many Banes left, and they're struggling to get through the Marauders. However, the Medevacs were kind of left in the front there with the Mutalisks, so not as pretty a fight from soO. Definitely a lot more surviving this time from Cure. Doesn't have a lot of splash damage left, but he has plenty of Marauders to tank. And that actually makes this interesting as well, by the way, the plenty of Marauders, because I was just about to say the tech structures will be coming through from soO, and that means that the Ultras Cavern's obviously generally the priority, but already having so many Marauders really helps to just soak up some of that initial Ultras pressure. As this is a continued fight through from soO as well. Lings and Banes continue to commit in. The Mutalisks are going to get rid of some of these medevacs, and it is going to be a cleanup in the end. Reinforcements are probably enough to turn this around, and that will be the case. But yeah, Ultras are usually the kind of the, you know, something that slow the Terran player down. But because the Terran player has held control of the game so long, he's already been building Marauders all game. He already has an answer to Ultras, so it's not really going to slow the game down as much as usual. Right now, just going to focus on Adrenal Glands and +3 Carapace off that hive. And I can't blame him, because again, I don't never think Ultras are necessarily a terrible idea. But, you know, they still create tanky opportunities. They still, you know, are still very good, kind of, you know, soaking a lot of hits for the Ling Bane running through. As this is a lift up and leave. Oh, Widow Mine's doing some pretty good damage. 16 kill Widow Mine there was the MVP. I just wonder, like, I just wonder if I can kind of understand why soO isn't super quick to go into Ultras, right? Because it does feel scary when the Terran is seemingly so well prepared for this already, which is kind of intriguing. soO coming down the bottom left, Ling Bane coming along. Overseer is gonna get tickled at, and is just about gonna survive here. So Midless will continue to join back up. The difficulty for soO is obviously winning this game just on Ling Bane meter, and that's why you do have to make, that's why even like the Ultras do come into play. And that's why the lack of run buys kind of hurts as well, because this income graph has been soO favored, but not massively so. And the run buys are typically denying bases so that the resource is lost. You know, being so disadvantageous to the Zerg, it obviously becomes overwhelming anyways, though, because you're just denying the Terran player from mining as much. But there's no denial of the Terran player mining much here. This is just kind of, you know, complete freedom for him to do what he wants. He's taking every base he wants to. There's been zero attempt to shut down bases from soO. And that's why Kira is just in such good control of this game. And now he's building up Liberators 3 at a time. If you get like 10 Liberators up here, they are going to like almost one-shot these Mutalisks. They are going to do ridiculous splash damage to these units, which are pretty flimsy anyways. You know, you add a Thor shot or two into that, and yeah, those meters do not last long at all. So soO is maxed out, but he's maxed out in a very precarious position where he is really not far from losing this game. And it feels so weird to say that, because it's like, well, he's got 5 bases going up to 6, but like, yeah, look at the Terran player. He's got 6 bases going up to 7. You know, he's going to run out of bases to take on the map soon enough. And soO's composition, again, has been the same thing the entire time. And it's just because early in the game, that 4th base went down, it slowed soO down a bit, and from there, he's always been trailing that that slight amount. Maybe not so much in the numbers, but definitely so when it comes down to just straight up, like, you know, ease of defense, right? And again, he's been doing all the right things to hold on, but he's struggling to transition those holding on plays into actually winning the game plays, because right now Kira, again, just running away with this, denies that base again, and Kira might just be playing a, you know, deny base 6 sort of game, because he's got so many bases of his own. He's got so many bases of his own that, quite frankly, that, you know, if he holds soO to 5 bases, he will just starve soO out of money very, very shortly here. soO into the center, some Ling Bane coming around. Mutalisks coming back overhead, and just going to be seeing this Bioforce. Well, going to start trying to fight this. Split's coming around here. Initially, the Thor is doing some insane damage to these Mutalisks. I mean, the meters drop very low, and the Liberators are here to try and follow up on that. A few extra Banes coming in. I mean, this is one of the scenarios where Ghosts just don't do that well, because those Ghosts have nothing to add to this army. Because what are they meant to do? Like, what are they meant to snipe? I kind of like the Liberators here. I feel like Ghost is just a little bit ahead of the time. I mean, I guess 2 or 3, and then, you know, you're somewhat prepared, / you can drop a nuke or 2. You're just building nukes now. But Ghost, when Ling Bane meter is running at you, they're just not really designed. You know, they still do some decent damage output, but again, for that cost, they're just not getting big hits like when they're against Ultras and they're able to snipe those down, for example. But yeah, this is soO coming around with these Mutalisks to try and deal some more damage, but he's already drained a cache, right? His minerals are very, very low here, as Lings and Banes are going to continue forwards and just try and catch this little bit of bio at the very least. Even then, you're pushing up this Rabbit and Widow Mines, and the Mutalisks are going to take some major damage here. He splits away last second. Is that enough as the Ling Bane comes through the bottom side still? Well, the Liberator count just get picked away at there, so it has worked out somewhat. Widow Mines continue to burrow up. This bottom side planetary goes down. For the first time in a long time, soO's able to deny a base, but at a huge cost. He loses so much in doing it, and he just cannot afford that at all. 16 drones went down during this fight as well. I imagine there was like a slight run by going on, or drop somewhere just as this was happening. Let's just have a look. Why not? Benefits of... Actually, I mean, you can at the end of games rewind games and replays right now as well. Let's just see where those drones went down, because obviously losing economy is something soO can't really afford either. Oh, it's actually the nuke as well. Wow. I actually didn't even know the nuke was up in the sky. Oh my god, 16 drones. While this big fight's going on, that's obviously why soO is so late to respond. And my friends, that nuke would probably be a GG in this scenario. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a good fight. Even if he had the 16 drones back onto this, soO is still behind without the money. But without the money to continue. But the nuke really is just a big ol' hell no, I'm out of here. Like, I can't win this. GG. So Kyo is going to take game number 1 of this best of 3. Game number 2 on Eternal Empire. As we start in the top right hand side, the blue Zerg player, of course, here is soO, taking on the red Terran player. On the bottom left hand side, Dragon Phoenix Gaming's KUA. Just a quick mention, a lot of people have been asking me here and there how to get replays and stuff of these games and so on. These games that I cast as YouTube exclusives, I typically get from other people's replay packs. But a lot of the stuff that comes from my stream, you guys can get replays of if you want to support. Usually it goes out to Twitch subscribers, and I know this is obviously YouTube and you guys don't visit Twitch so much, but I also have an option on my Patreon page, patreon.com/WardiTV. The link should be down below in the description. So if you want replays, they're $5 a month, and we upload like a bunch of them. Like we upload, I think we're on track to upload 400 to 500 pro level replays this month. So pretty much anything that we cast, we're giving replays out for. The only difference is like there's a couple tournaments that say no, you're not allowed to. But obviously I run a lot of my own tournaments too. So do check that out. The Patreon in general, a great way to support. And we're currently, the great thing about Patreon as well is 100% of what you pledge there goes to tournament prize pools. So it helps me out because it helps me fund my tournaments, but it really does help StarCraft out too. You know, again, like I say, 100% goes towards tournament prize pools. So we're currently on our way towards trying to raise $500 a month to really help us stabilize our WardiTV online circuit events that are happening, such as the WardiTV Spring Championship preseason main event, etc., etc. So consider checking that out. Don't want to talk about it too long here, as we do have our game setting up. Do you just want to mention it as well? Thank you so much for listening. Second map, and Eternal Empire. Kind of that map where it's going to be a bit more difficult for Kyo to get into that complete control of the game sort of setup here. This map, there should be more run-by potential from soO. I mean, I just think in general, last map there is run-by potential, he just never really went for any of it, and that really does hurt because it always means the Terran player is the one who's pushing into, you know, aggressive positions without any care, consistently, like, causing issues for the Zerg player. You know, soO is consistently behind in the game because he's consistently defending attacks. And he never, you know, yes, it's difficult to break that, but the first step of breaking that is to maybe take the initiative and to try to attack yourself, right? And yes, you're probably not going to be able to take a straight up, you know, fight on the Terran side of the map into his main army. And that's what run-bys are for. The Terran's trying to push across your map. He's opening his bases without defense. It's one of those things as well, because Kyo never got hit by a run-by all game long, he never responded to a potential run-by all game long as well. You know, because you never did it the first time, because you never committed through to that play, Kyo just forgets about it altogether, and so he never even takes precaution about it. Even if you just do one, it then makes Kyo think about it in the future and say, oh, well, maybe I need to be a bit more careful here. Maybe I need to leave a couple units or something along those lines, right? As you do see the couple of drones continuing out here from soO, a third hatchery will be dropping down in the upper right-hand side as well. Reaper comes out, takes the watchtower to see a little bit of what's going on with the starport of Kyo. Continuing up, that's going to be finishing in just a few moments as a supply depot will drop down. And a couple of Hellions from Kyo will be coming out and around this bottom side, looking to try and see what will be going on. So Kyo coming around in a tech lab, dropping in on the barracks. Liberator building up on the starport as well. So looking good across the board here at the moment. Again, that LING speed is trickling along nicely on the spawning pool, so continuing to invest into that as we do see a Reaper gonna bop a couple of those queens up into the sky. They get sent away as the Reaper continues around, and a couple of Hellions will join up with it. Again, Zergling's speed continuing to come through for the moment, as we do have our Liberator from Cure. A Hellion Liberator opening into just bio is a very popular one as well. It's very non-committal. You get the 3cc up nice and quickly, obviously, you know, while still getting a good set of units. And again, you can just afford Stimpak here in the next few moments. So Liberator pops out, 6 Hellions. I mean, again, from there, you start up Stimpak, you swap the factory off to a new reactor, barracks come down. What is kind of interesting is this command center in the main. If there was an Overlord, I wonder why, actually. It's almost like you're trying to play a mind game where if you have an Overlord here as soO, you're obviously like, where the hell's the CC? And then maybe you're worrying a bit more about like a Hellbat attack or something. So maybe it's just a bit of a mind game in that sense. Maybe it's just a case of he was already comfortable that he was going to wall off over here so soon, so he doesn't need the CC. I mean, generally though, I mean, he wasn't walled off and the Hellions were on the map already, so it still would have helped wall off faster, but or more quickly. So yeah, I don't know. I think more than anything, it's really just trying to get that Overlord. If there is an Overlord here, you didn't even check for an Overlord there with the Liberator. And you know what I mean? Like, it's like I say, it's just kind of, we're just so used to seeing that command center in the wall off, just trying to theorize why he might not put it in the wall off this time around. As we do see the Spire dropping in from soO, so that's going to be on the third base. And so it's going to be a similar idea to last time, that faster lair into the Bane nest and Bane speed initially, so you can have like a 7-minute Baneling speed. And then you're going to have pretty fast Mutalisks to join up with that as well. And then the Evo Chambers to then follow through, so you're going to be a little bit behind on upgrades, with the benefit of having Bane speed and Mutalisks to help you clean up some of the earlier attacks a little bit more easily. Now, this time around, you don't get the Scout as Cure on that Spire so soon, so I'd be interested to see if he really pushed across the map early in the game. And actually, this time he's building another reactor already on the factory, so he's not even going to build a couple of defensive siege tanks early in this game. He's just going to go straight through into these couple of extra Widow Mines. Aliens just gathering up around the top then, and going to be seeing +1 melee upgrades. Bane speed coming through. There's a Liberator actually coming back in, and not doing too bad. All these Marines jumping back into the medevacs as well, trying to see where they can go. Hellions continuing down the bottom. Again, 1 melee upgrades. Bane speed going to be finishing up, and again, a few extra mutas coming through. Zerglings on the way in the third base as well. Just a couple of Widow Mines through this top side. We do have the Zergling around the left, and it's going to have our Marines continue to come in a little bit. A couple of Zerglings being picked away at, so a few Lings already going down. There's a few Queens obviously still here. The Marines obviously don't have too much life on them as the mutas come out to clean up the Liberator. Honestly, not a bad setup though from Cure. You kill a good few drones here early game. That's like 7 drones without having to dive the Hellions by too heavily. You know, still having the Hellions alive for that future attack. You saw the power of that in the last game, and just how much it scared a lot of everything. Made soO's entire armies look kind of that much weaker than they were, just because those Hellbats are there ready to soak up shots, deal splash damage, etc. As the armory drops down in the main base from Cure, so going to be getting that down as Machio 2-2 upgrades will be starting shortly. More Bioforce out through over to the left-hand side. Hellions morph into Hellbats, and obviously a good few Widow Mines mixed into this as well. Cure with the splash damage to really get a scary push-up right now. How far are we from 1-1 of the Zerg? 10 seconds. So you should have 1-1 for this fight realistically, right? As these couple Widow Mines start to burrow up. Just going to see these few creep tumors going down. And again, the Lings, Banes, and Mutas want to come in from the right-hand side. Queen's pressing through, and first few Banelings already rolling forward. A couple of Widow Mine shots. Not even needed just yet. They actually soaked up those Banes by the Hellbats. That's what I mean, right? That's, what, 6-7 Banes that actually just went on Hellbats that, you know, like I say, it just benefits from being, you know, defensive with those early in the game and not just diving them into a mineral line, etc. Still this Bioforce gathering out on the edge of creep. Obviously, it's a lovely position because you're out on the edge of creep. You're not, you know, you're going to be fighting the Banes off creep spread as well. There's a couple of Widow Mine shots coming through. These Lings and Banes continue forwards. The Mutalisks want to come on top of this as well. There's a few Banes left, which will scare these Marines from turning to fight the Mutalisks. reinforcements do show up, and that will be Q able to come forwards and somewhat push this away down the ramp. 2 upgrades coming on either side, with the 4th base of Q coming through too. And as soO gets up to 5 bases, again, it's been a much more comfortable game, right? He took some damage on this 4th base, but he was able to set it up. He's forcing scans to, you know, for creep to be re-cleared here before Q pushes further forwards, and that is nice. He gets 3 of the 4 active tumors, so it does slow this down a lot. And Q now going to go drilling claws on the Thor 2nd factory up and running. Actually going to launch a counterattack with these Mutalisks, but I'm very scared he's going to fly into those Marines and Widow Mines. As in the end, he will pull this back and just going to be seeing the Overseer. So, of course, watch for Widow Mines as well. And I feel like this is the time when you counterattack. LING BANE into this space. I mean, I get it. There's a couple of Widow Mines here, but there's a reason Zergs do those counterattacks pretty much every ZvT, right? There's absolutely a reason we see it so often. As well, soO's going to fight this off creep. Now, these main Marines on the top side are splitting away, and maybe not enough units went up to the top, but actually, he is going to start getting cleaned up a little bit here. Widow Mine to help out. BANE from the right side does very well, and the Mutalisks continue to chase in. Hey, this is not just a cleanup, because this is so much more, because actually he's going to get all of the medevacs as well. And Q found himself just a bit too overcommitted to the top side. It's a very daring attack from soO to come so far off creep, intercept an army, and have the Terran army right here to help out, but it's a fight that works for him. The couple Banes flanking too, helping to clean up at the end. Again, suddenly you lose all of the medevacs as Q. Your position in the game becomes so much worse, because now you've got 0 drop potential, now you've got 0 threat on the map, you don't have healing. Well, this actually changes a lot. Now the Mutalisks are able to get aggressive. There's only 1 missile turret in this natural. That's going to drop before SCVs even begin to respond. Marines are going to stim in to try and chase that down. Obviously, now the Zerg is able to come onto the map and really get ready to be aggressive too. Obviously, there's a fine line between having some good aggression with LING BANE into the Terran bases versus throwing away units and just getting into an irrecoverable position. But I like the idea of getting aggressive here. You just want a good fight. The medevac count is low. I mean, it's absolutely a possibility or opportunity time to deny this 4th base, I suppose. A couple of Lings going down. And now the Marines, well, going to start getting to work. Another Widow Mine actually just goes off on a few Zerglings there. The Widow Mine's not getting the best shots, honestly. A few Zerglings being picked off. The important part is the meters are kind of still supported by a few units as they start to kind of push on in here. So just going to be able to get this 4th base, and that in itself is going to be a huge detriment from Q in that game. I mean, the Mutalisks just going to dive in, help take down this Thor. He can pull back for that 4th base a little bit later on. He is rolling into the 3rd base. Depot's going down, and that's how Q is going to die. Just like that, soO is going to tie this series up 1-1. And a game that started to make some... he started to make some progress of this... you know, Q started to make some progress like he did in game 1. And then he just, that one fight on the top side, it's not even like a super terrible fight. Like, losing all the medevacs sucks, don't get me wrong. And it gives soO a chance to move on the map. soO has so little time to really just kill Q from that before Q is just, you know, restabilized, right? Because he's on a comfortable economy. So soO really hit at the right moment. That was actually kind of crazy. Like, yeah, that was kind of insane. GG. I mean, just a good game from soO, but it did feel like he was starting to be in trouble. But again, he managed to break his way out of it. Hey, we're going to a game 3, guys. Let's see who takes this series down. Final map of this best of 3. It's turned out to be a pretty fun one. 2 games down. Let's hope our 3rd game can live up to the rest of the series. Is in the bottom left-hand side. Our blue Zerg player. This is soO, taking on the red online Terror, Q. And I said Terror, meaning it, not Terran. Obviously, he is a Terran, but online Terror, I think, is a great phrase for Q because he really is so freaking good at playing online. This man is just a monster when it comes to playing in online events, and his results continue to impress in online tournaments as well. So, really, always fun to watch Q. And, you know, he was very close to making a good performance in Super Tournament 2. I mean, he lost to Solar in the round of 8, but he showed games at the level, which I would say is closing in on where he is online as well. So that's really exciting for him, obviously, going into the upcoming GSL season. Just want to say, guys, just as this game starts up as well, I know I'm doing a couple of different mentions about things today. Obviously, I am casting a lot right now on the Twitch stream. Obviously, we're still uploading the best stuff to YouTube every single day, one upload a day. You guys know it, but there's so many great games that I can't upload to the YouTube because we don't want to flood this place with everything, and there is some tough decisions to make. So if you want to check it out, obviously the Twitch stream is there. I know a lot of you guys aren't a fan of Twitch and the way it works, etc. Do come along and say hi, come check it out. I mean, like I say, obviously I know a lot of people are stuck in the house these days right now, so if you're looking for some extra entertainment, I really have been doing my best to stream as much as possible. We've been doing like 8-hour streams almost every day, and this video will go up. I'll probably be live for if you're watching this video as it goes up, I'll probably be live doing stay-at-home story cup qualifiers. But in general, for the few days following, there's still lots planned, such as WardiTV Spring Championship stuff, ESL Open Cups, the actual stay-at-home story cup. There's going to be loads of content, so just consider checking out the Twitch stream if you're looking for some more StarCraft. Like I say, we upload a lot to YouTube, but we can't upload everything. There's just too much. So just a little shout out there as we watch the block on the third hatchery is nicely done, and then the Reaper coming over forces the drone to the extractors. We're now going to be having the few Zerglings pressing out. Drone tries to get some damage on the SUV. This is dangerous. These Zerglings quite far away from the front, and they do get back to their creep spread. But again, the damage being done early. Let's see what soO can do about the creep tumor. He is going to place it down. See, this time he does it, just kind of throwback to game one, he does it a bit better, right? He gets the Lings forward so they block the Reaper from really making a play onto the creep tumor. This is a second Reaper, though, so 2 Reaper opening. We've seen this a little bit from players like I was just gonna say the wrong names there. Like Q and TY. They like this second Reaper apply a little bit more pressure early game, and obviously you can use that to your advantage, especially when you go for like an engineering bay block like this. It really helps you to slow down the taking of the third base. Now, this will in the end force the Zerg to be on a little bit of oversaturation on minerals a little bit earlier in the game, and hence they generally have to play a little bit gas heavier a little bit sooner. So typically you'll see a fast spire off of this. Now, that's actually not much different to how soO has been playing anyways. You can see this, he was waiting for this Reaper to regen a little bit before he could sneak out of there. So it's not super different from how soO's been playing, and he will be able to take this down. I mean, this third base being close to the natural and easily creepable towards means the Queens can get there nice and early, help to clean that up, but it's still a delay, and we'll see maybe what soO ends up with. And again, I'm just saying that you get oversaturated because the third hatchery isn't up as soon as you'd like it to be. So you can see here, he's already, what, like 3 drones away from saturating the natural. So what are these extra drones going to do? Well, that's typically where you take the extra gases earlier, and then, you go from there, basically. So here is just going to go into a Banshee, I think, whenever you do a full-on engineering bay block like this. Obviously, it is a slight mineral investment from the Terran as well, slowing other things down. And again, the Banshee just gives you that safety against a lot of what the Zerg player could do to try and take advantage of you kind of slowing down their third base. So if he sees that block and he instantly goes extra gases and just starts building roaches, you could be in trouble, especially because some of your other units are just a little bit slower in production, etc. Because again, you're building 125 minerals on your opponent's third base, etc., etc. So with that said, Lyra is on the way up here from soO. So like I said, I think, an especially fast Spire, there's no Bane nest down just yet, but he's actually going to go Evolution Chambers as well, so not going to worry himself too much with getting in towards a Bane nest. Well, I mean, actually, it's going to work quite nicely. Fast Spire against the Banshees, and then, there's nothing that really is going to punish those fast Mutalisks too quickly. As now Kia comes in, I mean, again, a couple of Reapers are nice, having some grenades, making these Queens hop around. And extra barracks from Q continue to come into play as the Hellions from Q are going to sit down the low ground now. A couple of melee upgrades starting up from soO. So 1-1 melee coming in. The Banshee's starting to fly forwards already and is able to get rid of a couple of drones. Detection? Overseer is building. There's a single Spore Crawler on the map. I guess that's up in the main. This is, yeah, kind of crazy, right? Just no preparation, especially when you're on such a fast lair as well. And I will say, for the faster lair, upgrade started and still no sign of a tech structure. So the lair not really being used for much right now. Hasn't been seen by Cure or anything like that. So here's me hopping on about fast Mutalisks. I mean, honestly, the setup makes sense for fast Mutalisks, and yet we see nothing. It's just a completely useless lair. Starts a Bane nest. Yeah, I've got no idea. He's got the gas. He's got the money. Hellion's going to slip by in towards the natural. Always a little bit dangerous because you've got to pull back one at a time through that choke point, but of course the Zerglings can't chase through that choke point in a similar vein. So positives and negatives of trying to come up there is he's going to get Hellions on towards this third base, and a few drones already going down. Zerglings are going to continue to chase over. And these Queens will make it into position, and again, a few of those Hellions already dropping here. So Hellions being picked away. Again, a few extra drones going down. This is really adding up right now. With 7 workers killed. As soO will get back to mining. Hydralisk then drops down. So in the end, he wants to play a LING BANE Hydra style. Here on Zen, well, okay, theory craft with me here a little bit, guys. So Zen's a bit of a smaller map in terms of pushing across. It still turns into be in a pretty standard map in terms of taking your bases, because you're typically you don't easily kind of expand towards each other. And you know, when you take the third base, the rush distance third to third is longer than the rush natural to natural because of the way the map is laid out. So typically, like, you don't necessarily need to go Hydras on a map like this, and it's kind of a very, I say, like, it's a very terrainy map in the sense that there's lots of ledges, etc., to be utilized. And that's the sort of thing which Mutalisks are very good at dealing with, because then the Mutalisks can, you know, come around, pick off tanks that are in funky positions. The Hydras, yeah, I mean, as these Lings come in this army will probably get cleaned up. I mean, the Queens with a lot of transfusions to help out there. They get a medevac as well. It's a nice cleanup from soO. I'm just thinking the Hydras, like, I feel like there's so many spots here where the Hydras are going to struggle to fight. Like, a lot of the defensive positions are up choke points, etc. I mean, if you can get a big fight onto the Terran's third base, then you've got a bit of an open space to fight in. But if you're talking about fighting on, like, fourth bases, etc., like, pushing out here is not going to be fun. Obviously, these minerals aren't going to be fun. Yeah, I'm just a little bit surprised about it. It's not like no one's ever played LING BANE Hydra on this map before. Just for me, it really screams as someone who's played LING BANE Muta 2 games in a row. Why change it up? I mean, maybe he just really feels as though LING BANE Muta isn't working for him, and that's why. Yeah, just a little bit surprised about the Hydra Den here, as we do have one of the Banshees got picked off, and well, this one manages to make its way back into a beautiful position to get a couple extra drones. And at the same time, drop into the main base. Akira is really going all out with this aggression. Oh, he's misdropped. He's dropping the Marines to the low ground. No, not like this. These Marines are meant to be in the high ground, stimming in. They would have killed a couple Hydras of Spore Crawl already. Well, actually, in the end, he's just going to commit to being on the low ground as the Banshee to the left side goes down. Now he's going to lift up into the main. And he's going to leave a few units on the low ground as well. He's ready for units to run on top of that siege tank, which he should be, because that's exactly what soO is setting him to do. Few Lings from the right-hand side, and they are on their way in here. It took them a little while to come in, but we'll get there eventually as the medevac goes down trying to pick up Marines. Well, this game's getting a little bit funky, because at the same time it dropped on the top left. You're definitely making a couple of micro errors and not really being as effective with these drops as I think he would have liked to be, but at the same time, soO is still taking damage because there's just drops all over. Fourth base from Cure lifts up and moves out as well, so he's going to go straight to base number 4. Cure's actually building Widow Mines. He's still going to play Widow Mines here against the Hydras, which I feel like after seeing them with these drops, typically a lot of players would just continue to build tanks. Tanks are very good at holding down a position and pushing into Hydras. Widow Mines really not so much, because obviously the Widow Mines don't really add much against the Hydras. You know, it still helps you against the LING BANE. But against the actual Hydralisk count, it doesn't really do much at all. And that's why siege tanks are oftentimes preferable. Both can still work, but in terms of taking advantage and ending the game, tanks are that much better because they can really keep pushing forwards from a position, whereas Widow Mines are essentially just going to keep trading, and eventually give the Zerg a lot of time to perhaps get back into the game as well. Marines back up around the top. Is going to see more Marines, tanks, medevacs coming out around this bottom side. There is going to be some Bane Hydra army on the front here, as we do have our army of Cure still continuing along. I'm just going to be seeing this stopping short in a moment or two as the Banes and Hydras wanted to start going forwards there. These Marines going to have to lift up and just evacuate away. And again, the rest of these Marines are going to get rid of this hatchery very quickly, so that's the 5th base that goes down. Meanwhile, our LING BANE Hydra continues across the map, so continue to move on over. Maybe thinking about getting up this ramp in towards that natural expansion. Still more of this Marine tank army wanting to come across as our Banes roll up. And they're going to go straight in towards this mineral line, and some SCVs already dropping down. So this counterattack's going to do very well. I mean, this is what we didn't see a lot of in the previous games from soO. But now he comes straight up, 22 workers down. I will say these Hydras are a little bit stuck, but let's face it, they're going to get some decent value in the, you know, in the follow-up. I say as then they just got absolutely slaughtered. I thought they were going to get like a couple of depots, but then they did derp around a little bit, right? Like you went a little bit over here, a little bit over there. Meanwhile, Kira is still on the map, and oh no, soO, what are you stuck here for? I'm going to be trying to get back through the center. This is one of the issues with Hydras on this map. They are pretty slow and clunky, moving through those mineral patch blockers. Well, Kira loses a lot of economy, but his army supply is way up there. I mean, cleaning up all those Hydras, of course, does not come cheaply for soO. That's what I mean, like, I actually really thought those Hydras were just going to, like, pull away to the side, get, like, a couple extra depot kills, and I'd be like, well, you know, actually they did all right, right? Like, they picked up a good amount, you know, 22 workers as well. Actually, they were like, oh, let's fight to the left. Oh, let's fight a depot. Oh, no, let's fight to the left. And then they just didn't kill anything extra. Becomes a little bit questionable. But again, the resources lost isn't bad, as we do have soO stand up in a big concave to maybe jump in on this army. The bio is all clumped up, but it is off creep, which makes it scary. As Kira maxed out, continue to press forwards. These couple of siege tanks continue to come over as well. Bioforce continue to stem in. Creep tumors going down. And here we go, LING BANE Hydra from the bottom side, a little bit from the top as well. It's a huge fight all over the place. We'll stay zoomed out for a little while, as we see on the bottom right. I mean, this army is dealt with. There's just no Banelings on this big clump of Marines on the left side. And then they do start to move forwards. The split is there, so soO will lose everything. And I just don't think that soO really has the reproduction to deal with, while there's still so many bio units left alive in all of this. A lot of Zerglings were remade, and the Bane's already starting to morph, but well, Kira's up 20 supply, and soO's out of minerals. And Kira's going to keep on pressing forwards. He chased those Zerglings to the ends of the earth, or were they Hydras? I don't know. Either way, whatever it was, they got chased until the very end. And they will go down. Kira not letting anything escape from this army now. Well, next wave of this, and Kira has a lot of units split up, a few to the top. Reinforcements still coming over. Looks like he'll be able to manage it, though. These Marines are going to loop back around to this main army here. I mean, soO's just going to use this as a chance to come in from the top and the left again. Running on through. The tanks obviously taking a lot of the initial damage here, as tank in the back needs to be a little careful. I mean, looks as though he's just going to keep stepping backwards and eventually lift up. The rest of Kira's reinforcements, though, keep running out here as well. soO cannot go up this ramp, even with Banelings as the lead, I think, because there's just never going to be an ending, which really works out for the rest of your units. As Kira drops back down here, soO's just going to try and go for it. The Terran is somewhat clumped up and back against the wall, but obviously the Bioforce from Kira just peels away to the side, and the Hydras are going to be left on their own. As all of those LINGs went down, he survived the 10 to 15 Banelings that were there, and once they went down, there just wasn't much left, and Kira looks as though he's marching across the map to a victory here in this game 3. This was really sick. Really fun series between the two of them, I gotta say. I mean, this is a stem forwards. Banelings are not even ready, so this is going to be a horrible fight here for soO, who's just going to lose so many Zerglings. I feel his tank needs to unsiege because it's doing more help for the Zerg than help for the Terran. Friendly firing onto those Marines. I mean, a Baneling's rolling into a Marauder as well. I mean, the game's already kind of decided, guys. We're just seeing the final moments of soO trying to figure out if there's any way he can get a connection and hold on. He cannot. And Kira will take game number 3 of this series. GG's, and very nicely done. Really fun series, guys. Like I was just saying towards the end there. Really fun series. A lot of great games. Really enjoyable stuff. And just a really fun TVZ. I've really enjoyed doing another YouTube exclusive cast for you guys as well. I really do hope you guys enjoyed it. I know that you guys were have been enjoying the YouTube in general lately. I think the content has been absolutely brilliant, and I mean, not to brag or anything, no, but I really do feel like we've had just so many great games lately that it's very easy to put out good content when you've got games as good as these. And you know, if you didn't see the Reyno Clem finals from that we uploaded yesterday, or the Clem Showtime semifinal, like those matches were insane. There was also the Reyno semifinal was really good. I didn't upload it because at the time I thought I was going to get some good cup games from the Kung Fu Cup, but then we did not. So yeah, I'll wrap this up. I'll stop rambling on. Just thanks for supporting OVKC. Do subscribe if you have not already. Our push to 16,000 subs is well underway. I'm going to push down the stream a little bit today as well, so hopefully we'll be having a good little time getting a little bit close to that. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a great rest of your day. Really hope you have a good one. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys next time.